Hello everybody, happy Earth Day. I'm Marianne and over here is my own teddy bear, Teddy. Just call him Teddy. And we're here to share some special Earth Day stories for you today. And we're going to tell you what we'll be doing on Earth Day. But I wonder if you're looking closely. Do you see what Teddy has here? It's a special card. It's Teddy's saying hello card. And inside this card are some messages from grandparents who are missing their grandchildren. And we have 4 different families we're going to be sending messages to today. So I hope you're listening and hear us. First of all, Teddy, there are 2 twin sisters and they're only 10 months old. And their names are Mara and Aideen and they live in Rugby. And I have a message to you from Nana and Papa. And they said that they can't wait to give you both cuddles. So they hope that won't be too long. As well as that, we have some cousins, and they live in different places. Judah is in Hollywood, and Marie is in Belfast, and your Nana has written to say lots of love and that she misses you. And I'm sure you're missing her too. And we have some more sisters, and these sisters, Teddy, live quite near us. They live in Bangor. They're down on Princetown Road. Their names are Lucy and Holly. And you know, I heard that Lucy is being a wonderful big sister and is helping to look after Holly because Holly has to stay sheltered at home. And Granny says she's very proud of you both and she sends lots of hugs. And last for today, we're going to say hello to 2 cousins, 3 cousins actually. Isaac and Joshua are in Portavogie, and that's not too far away. And then Annie is away over outside Manchester. And this comes from your nanny, and she says that you're going to all have so much fun when we can all get together. So in the meantime, you know, you can talk to your nannies and nanas and papas on the phone and maybe send them a video message. And maybe even we can do some of the rhymes and stories together. Teddy, that was a great idea, and I love that little card. And I know on Friday we're going to have some more greetings to send to some more children, so don't miss those. So let's see, what are we going to do? First of all, I want to show you a really beautiful book. It's called In the Garden, and this is by Nöelle Smit, and it was published by Little Island Books. Now this book actually came out first in the Netherlands, and then the people at Little Island saw it and thought, we really want to have a book like this in Ireland and written in English so all the Irish children can read it. And they got it translated, and I wrote to them and asked them if I could have permission to share it with you because it's a brand new book, and usually you have to get permission to read books like this online. But they were very kind and they told me I could read it, and I'm so pleased because looking in this book is just like going into the garden. It's like holding spring and summer in your hands, and it gave us lots of great ideas for what we're going to do. So what it does is it looks at the garden all through the year, from how it looks in January when it's still very cold, all the way through spring and summer and autumn to the fall. And I'll show you the pictures and just read you what says underneath. Hello, welcome to our vegetable garden. Most of the plants are sleeping now because it's winter time. Yeah, that was a little while ago, Teddy. Well, in February, it's warm inside the greenhouse, and that's where we plant the seeds so they can sprout. And what comes after February? March. And when March comes, spring is on its way. Look, the first crocuses. That was a rainy day, but those girls are having fun jumping in the puddles. April, the little vegetable plants can go in the ground now. We make nice rows and beds for them. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to go outside and see what we can plant. And in May, Look at all the beautiful blossoms in May. It says now the garden smells so good. Everything's starting to flower. And it's even warm out there. She's got just a little jacket on. In June, the vegetable plants are growing so quickly. What would you like for dinner tonight? In July, the fruit is ripe now. But we aren't the only ones who love berries. I think the birds like to take those as well. I bet they're very yummy. And in August, the garden looks like a jungle. Can you see me? She's hiding there behind those big, tall sunflowers. They grow so tall. Now it's September. It's time to pick the apples. Do you want help? In October, the pumpkins are such a beautiful color. We can carve them into lanterns for Halloween. November, the garden is almost ready for winter now. Time to pick the last of the vegetables. And now it's December. We roast marshmallows to celebrate the end of the year, and it's so nice and warm around the fire. Well, one of the things I just love about this book are those rich, beautiful illustrations, but there's a little secret illustration on the back, and that's one of my favorites. If I turn the book around, you can see. Remember I told you the book was published in the Netherlands? And over in the Netherlands, there are all kinds of bicycles, very different from the bicycles you'll see in Ireland and England. My daughter lives in the Netherlands, and when I go to visit her, I always love seeing all the different kinds of bikes. And sometimes they have barrows in the front. There's like one child in here, but you can put 2 or 3 children in, or sometimes there's little barrows on the back. They're all shapes and sizes, and everybody cycles everywhere. And you know what? When you're cycling, you're going a wee bit slower, and you really can enjoy things, I think, a bit more. Now, I have another story about planting. And this is a story about a man who went out one day and he planted a turnip because he wanted to have turnip soup. And it turned into a great, big, enormous turnip. Once upon a time, there was an old man. He lived with his wife, a grandson, a little brown dog, a tiny white cat, and a wee pink-nosed mouse in a grand old farmhouse. One day, the old man said to his wife, "Dear wife, I am going to plant a turnip seed. And when it grows good and big, we will have delicious turnip soup." He took the seed and planted it in good rich soil, and every day he watered it. When thunder came, the raindrops danced over it, and when the sun shone, the sunbeams kept it warm. "Grow big, my little seed," the man would say every day. And one morning, 2 little green shoots popped out and grew bigger and bigger every day. And one fine day, the little old man knew it was time. "Dear wife," he said, "tonight we shall have turnip soup." And he put a big pot of water on the stove to boil. And then he went into the garden, took hold of the turnip, and began to pull. And he pulled, and he pulled, and he pulled. But the turnip was stuck fast. He called to his wife, "Dear wife, would you please help me pull the turnip?" So the wife held on to the husband, and the husband held on to the turnip, and they pulled, and they pulled, and they pulled. But the turnip stuck fast. The wife called to the grandson, "Dear grandson, please please help us pull the turnip. So the grandson held onto his grandma, the grandma held onto the husband held onto the turnip, and they pulled and they pulled and they pulled, but still the turnip stuck fast. So the grandson called the little brown dog. The dog held onto the grandson held onto the grandma held onto the husband held onto the turnip, and they pulled and they pulled and they pulled, but still the turnip stuck fast. The little brown dog called to the tiny white cat. The cat held on to the little brown dog. The dog held on to the grandson held on to the grandma held on to the husband held on to the turnip, and they pulled and they pulled and they pulled, but still the turnip stuck fast. So the tiny white cat called to the wee pink-nosed mouse, and the mouse held on to the cat held on to the dog held on to the grandson held on to the grandma held on to the husband held on to the turnip, and they pulled and they pulled and they pulled, and the turnip fell on top of the husband, who fell on top of the grandma, who fell on top of the grandson, who fell on top of the little brown dog, who fell on top of the tiny white cat, who nearly squashed the wee pink-nosed mouse. It was a giant turnip. And then the husband carried the turnip into the kitchen, where he chopped it up, chop, chop, choppity chop, into small pieces and put them in a big pot. He added a little of this and a little of that, and before long the turnip soup was ready. Everyone sat down to eat, and they all agreed that every single drop was just delicious. I think that's making me hungry for tea time soon. So, Teddy, look what I found. Listen, it's rattly. I found some sunflower seeds, and there were sunflowers growing in that beautiful garden book. So we're going to see if we can have any luck, if we'll plant our sunflower seeds and see if they'll grow up big and tall. I have one more thing to show you all today. So it's Wednesday, and that means that tomorrow night on Thursday at 8 o'clock, we'll be going out and standing in front of the house and clapping and cheering for our National Health Service and for all the people who are working hard to bring mail to our doors, to keep the town clean and tidy, and just taking care of us all while we're staying safe at home. And Teddy, I know that you can't clap very hard, so look what I found for you. What do you think of those little bells? If you go outside and rattle those, everybody will hear you. So that's what we're going to be doing tomorrow. We're going to be ringing bells for all our workers, and especially the NHS. And before we go, let's say a special goodbye to all those children. Do you remember? Tamara and Aideen in Rugby, to Judah in Hollywood, Marie in Belfast, Isaac and Joshua in Portavogie, and Annie just outside Manchester, and last of all to Lucy and Holly, who live not too far from us. And sometimes, Lucy and Holly, I go for my walk down Princetown Road, and if your teddy bear is in the window, maybe he'll wave at me. So we're going to rush outside to the garden now while it's still sunny, and we'll do our tea time, I think, afterwards. So goodbye, everybody. Be sure to be outside for Earth Day and just enjoy the wonderful outdoors. See you on Friday.